My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Cole Ross.
And you're listening to Watch Out for Fireball's Dispatch, our monthly Q&A, topics, and listener response episode.
Yeah. And we're talking about April here. I know I said it in the Suffering episode, but in case people don't listen to that, thank you so much, everybody who came out to the Midwest Gaming Classic up in Milwaukee.
Yes, they say it's the cruelest month, but it wasn't for us.
No, it was quite kind, except for the large Jenga indoors at the bar.
Yes. Large indoor Jenga happening. Kind of a bar experience that has made me decide I don't like bars.
Yeah.
They're bad. There's not, we do these meetups. What I ideally would want would be like a library, but you can't rent those. I need like a conference room because we're just going to talk.
It's like a conference room, or like we could bring like, I don't know, some coolers or something.
Tailgate.
Yeah.
There's just something like literally, because we were at a loud bar for the meetup, and the hotel we were in had like a sprawling conversation pit area.
Yeah.
And I had the thought, like, why didn't we just invite these people to the hotel lobby? Mm-hmm. You could also get beer.
You could.
There, you could, and it would just be quiet, but as is, instead it was next to a randomly firing Jenga. Yeah. Giant Jenga.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, everybody we met and talked to and hung out with, it was great.
Yeah. Had a really fun time. Yeah. It was really nice to meet people. Nice to see people we've seen before. Mm-hmm. Again.
Nice to see new people.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, really good times. And for this episode, we got good times with your questions. I'm going to get us started here. Peyton asks, hey guys, I stopped playing Elden Ring halfway through because the open world aspect just wasn't for me. Could you briefly explain why you like the game and talk about the late game difficulty spike that I've heard so much about? Is it easier than Dark Souls 3 or Sekiro? I know that you didn't enjoy the late game section of those games and would like to know if Elden Ring is any different.
Define briefly, because it's hundreds of hours.
Yeah, I thought of that too, but I can't just shunt this person to hundreds of hours.
No. I'm obviously being a jerk. Yeah. I like Elden Ring more than Dark Souls 3 and Sekiro. Some people come in and say like, just Elden Ring plays just like Dark Souls 3. Why do you like that and not that? Trying to get us in a gotcha. Like the world design and the story and the bosses count too.
It's also not true.
Right.
Elden Ring, they added a lot of, different, like the selling thing for Elden Ring that I always want to use is that they added gameplay modes to it so you can adventure in different ways. Now, like adding, even if it is kind of a perfunctory, adding a stealth system and the horse and kind of roaming encounters, things like the stagecoaches, like the, or the stealing the key from the dragon, stuff like that adds enough to a sense of adventure to me that I'm not just fighting through zones, which is what you do in a Souls game usually.
Yes.
Even though I love it. You're usually just fighting through zones. It's also just like, so the story is original. Mm-hmm. The Dark Souls 3 story sucks. Mm-hmm. I've seen the the essay about how it's good because it's about how Dark Souls 3 should end. Jacob Geller, who I respect, not talking shit, but I just disagree with the take.
Yeah. It's still a game you have to play. Yeah. And there was also a story we had to look up close at. The answer to the is it easier? I mean, that's going to be subjective. Are the highs harder? Yeah, probably. Like there are some bosses that are, like a little bit of bullshit. Millennia is by all rights harder than the Nameless King, I think.
Yes, but not as hard as Sword Saint Ishin, I don't think.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Sword Saint Ishin is still the hardest boss in one of these things for me. And it's because I couldn't try new things.
Yeah.
For it. With Millennia, at least, like I could try other stuff, and even the DLC boss, which is nobody likes. Like I've never talked to anybody who's like, yeah, man. Promise Consort Radon is a really good boss. I'm sure that people are out there, but I haven't run into them.
Yeah.
Even then, you can just kind of look up the cheat build.
Yeah.
And switch to it and get through it if you need to.
And that's the thing is the options, right? Like on the average, it is a smoother experience because you can bounce and because you have a lot of build variability.
Yes. And if those things don't work for you, I wouldn't wrap yourself around an axle about it.
Oh God, yeah.
Like if the open world part doesn't work for you, that's okay.
You can play other games instead.
Yeah.
We should get that on a t-shirt. Like we say that enough.
Like, it's 100% true though. Like,
Sam writes, not sure whether you've discussed it elsewhere or not, but what are your impressions of the Duskbloods based on the little we've seen so far?
It sounds like a slur.
It does.
I don't like that.
It also sounds like a sitcom title.
It's a sitcom slur. which is not just a Dead Kennedys album deleted scene. It's also I don't. It looks cool.
Yeah,
like the actual visuals of it look cool. I like that little rocket robot. And stuff. I don't like that it's battle royale PvE. Like you can get assigned a role to hunt down another player.
Yeah.
So it just kind of puts it in the Night Rain bucket for me as like something I don't want to play against other people in video games.
No.
Playing this, looking at that, and then we're doing Resident Evil 6 for the show.
Right.
A common element and a thing that will always get under my craw in a video game is being hurried. I don't like it.
No, not at all.
I wouldn't like it. And, you talked about this with your experience with Night Rain.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to make a decision or look at the lore descriptions on weapons and everyone is just shunting to the next thing. With Duskbloods, it seems like you're going to be doing that and someone's going to come stab you in the back.
Yeah.
And then with Resident Evil 6, it happens with characters constantly yelling at you to hurry and then like zones where they just spawn in, constantly. Like it just wants you to move.
Yeah.
And I just don't, it's not something I really like in a game, I think.
It runs against the kind of the slow pace that I would enjoy in these games too. Not like everything needs to be plotting like Dark Souls 1 or whatever, but it's like I want to soak, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to experience games slowly. So I'll definitely play it. And we will talk about it even if it's just like a first impressions episode.
Yeah.
Or a total impressions episode on Bonfireside Chat. Same thing with Night Rain. Like I can't imagine us not trying it and talking about it, but in-depth coverage, probably not.
Yeah. I'm not doing a consumer rights thing about this because From can make what they want to make and we do not know what's further down the pipeline, Night Rain and that coming as a 1-2 punch has been dispiriting.
It's even so much so that I don't know if you read it, but there's the interview that Miyazaki did with it even said like, this is a blip. Like we're not giving up doing single player games.
Yeah.
Like they're aware of it. They know the kind of impression this gives to players.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened that 2 of these are coming out in a row and it feels bad.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And also the future isn't written. Like,
Yeah. Anything could happen. And again, maybe, all of this, like I mentioned, I'm going to try both of them. I'm going to try to keep an open mind, even if it sounds like I've made up my mind. I haven't played them. I'm going to try. I just know what kind of games I generally like, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll pop in and be like, this is actually sick. Sign me up to hunt, Banana Fan 99. And I will go hunt the Fart Shaman and the Bong Doctor in New Yarnum.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe it'll be good. Dr. Divine says, longtime listener, first time troll, what are y'all's thoughts on some of the city/base building games that are out right now? Playing Foundation, Cataclysmo, Manor Lords, and really looking forward to Nova Roma. There's such a variety, and I sometimes have a hard time distinguishing between game flaws and my personal preferences. All the games I listed, for instance, fall under the city builder category, but couldn't be more different. Anyway, you guys have been constant companions in my ears for years now. Love your work and your banter and your cat's vocalizings. What a troll. First
Got our
troll.
asses.
Got our asses with that sweet, heartfelt message. And, just and regular, thoughtful question.
A very thoughtful question that's catered to my taste, like super specifically.
That's the ultimate troll. I actually didn't read it, but this whole thing was supposed to be sarcastic. Let me try again. Long-time listener, first-time troll. What are your thoughts?
So like my thoughts, I have not played any of the ones listed. I'm aware of Nova Roma. I'm aware of all of them. All look like ones that I want to play desperately. Manor Lords in particular, but also Cataclysmo has like a really cool, like kind of like theming and survival kind of aspect to it. There's some like real like city defense stuff in there too. Foundation being kind of a little bit more focused on production kind of stuff, and Manor Lords being about like medieval logistics. Like I am super curious about all of those, and the way that I am just a pervert for these things. Like the last one of these that I played that wasn't like Frostpunk 2 was Farthest Frontier, which I sank about 100 hours into when it was in early access. And that's also good, Yeah.
There's not enough time.
No.
I guess would be, not to answer for you.
No.
And for me, like I like this kind of stuff. I'm interested, especially Manor Lords. I've heard good things about.
Yeah.
Interested in that. Just no time.
Yep.
So less of a sicko. It's not that there'll be a trap for me necessarily, like I'll fall into, but it does seem like it is a big time commitment.
Yeah. They're all traps that I will fall into and then try and lasso Gary into.
Yeah, and you get so many of those. Like you want to throw one of these on the schedule?
I know.
I'm down. Yep. Yeah, interested. But you want to throw two of them on the schedule?
In close proximity? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's been long enough since we did Plague Inc. that I can do. I'm doing a numbers sicko thing with Ben next month.
Yeah, but you can do a city building defense thing with Gary.
I can.
Yeah.
Tyler writes, recently one of you, I believed Gary, mentioned playing Daggerfall. Is there any chance we could get a WOFF episode on this game? Perhaps you could play Daggerfall Unity, although I'm not sure if that breaks any sort of implicit rules of the show regarding original versus fan modded games. Thank you for many years of lovely podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure, there's a chance. No problem with that. Daggerfall is interesting. Nothing in the cards now.
Right. Yeah. I honestly feeling like I'm on a pretty good, like Bethesda cooldown.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, like it wasn't even, we didn't do a Bethesda game even recently, but kind of on a cooldown from that. Cyberpunk kind of refreshed my Bethesda cooldown.
Oh yeah.
Like, a little bit.
Yeah, that did it. And then with this, like, I don't know, Might and Magic 6, like that's similar enough where I'm like, I need to, like that clock kind of restarted too. So
yeah,
I'm excited for what we're going to be doing this winter, but yeah. Yeah,
this winter is a different thing. I don't know if I would clock Daggerfall before Oblivion.
I think Oblivion needs to, especially Shivering Isles is fucking great.
Like that's hanging out. And then also I need to like have a half hour to talk about the conversation system in Oblivion.
We need to dine on that.
Sincerely, like I'm not kidding. Like I feel like there's so much there of just one of the weirdest things that's ever ended up in a video game. I should just do an Abject Suffering on that mini game.
Yeah.
As a vanity pick. Like it's something.
It is. What's Kier say?
Yeah. Kier says, I'm wondering if any of you have any experience playing something like Honor Mode or Iron Man Mode, where you can't reload and the game and game overs are final, either as a setting or self-imposed. How you found that experience, if you have, and what you think of it generally.
No, I've never done this. It's not part of my challenge-o-type.
Yeah. I have a run of Baldur's Gate Honor Mode in me, for sure. I'm playing Divinity Original Sin 2 again, and I thought about doing that with it, but I hadn't played that on Tactician. I just decided to kind of climb the difficulty.
And that's harder, right?
It's so fucking hard.
Yeah.
I haven't party wiped. Like I wouldn't be dead in it, but it's much harder as it is. So it's kind of scratching that challenge itch.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't have any problem with this. In theory, I'm interested in it. But I don't have any real experience.
Yeah. Exotic Minivan, who we met in Milwaukee, and explained the username to us, which was fun. Asks, are there any games that you played at the Midwest Gaming Classic that impressed you? I couldn't remember the name of the one that I found at the time, but it was Keystone Capers for the Atari 2600. I played it a lot, and we even got a cartridge signed by Gary Kitchen. You two were a joy to meet, and it was a very positive experience. It made my trip. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Keystone Capers, I played that too.
Oh, yeah.
As a kid. Yeah. It's hearing that is making it pop up in my memory.
Yeah. I always get that mixed up with Elevator Action.
Yes. Different kind of caper.
Yeah.
Then there's the small ones for food as well.
Yeah. I didn't play Keystone Capers as a kid. That was on some just like a PlayStation compilation of old games. I don't know if that was on the Activision one or what have you. But yeah, I got whatever ones of those I could when I was a kid. And
same.
Yeah.
What's the coolest thing you played at Midwest Gaming Classic?
The thing that impressed me the most was that D&D pinball machine.
The Tyrant's Eye.
Yeah, the Tyrant's Eye. I was very intimidated by that. But I didn't do an awful lot of playing. I did sink some time into that Cosmic Scramble game that you recommended to me. That's neat. I like that.
There was a section of homebrew and indie pinball and arcade games. That was kind of the highlight of the playing section for me. One of the games was this game called Cosmic Scramble. I don't know if it's going to come out, but it's a game you play with 2 joysticks. It's really neat. I was really impressed by that. I like the arcade Ski Free, the 1-button Ski Free, where
that
you're always going down.
Yeah.
And the 1 button just changes your direction. That's really smart. D&D pinball was really cool. It seems like the kind of pinball you have to buy.
Yeah.
Like there are shops and character classes and like experience points and you save your game and shit like that. I didn't get to play Portal Pinball, which I really wanted to. They kind of confoundingly had one machine.
The ridiculous decision. I'm sure there was a reason for it, but I could not divine it.
The other game that impressed me was that game that was entirely in Japanese that we played in the one room on the first day, where it looked like I was just choosing options to play, and then it said "Thank you for playing." Like I didn't realize I'd been playing it.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
with expert comic timing.
It was like a weird rhythm game where like each button was like a little screen, I think.
Yeah. It was a 4x4 grid, and it really looked like I was just choosing options to start the game. But apparently I was not.
No.
Or I died during character creation. It was very funny.
I wish I was
really
filming
good.
at the time. It
was very funny. But yeah, didn't. And then I played a little bit of indie games where it's the on the computer where people are just there.
Yeah.
Played a card game called Two Fucks, which seemed like Uno but with like power ups and stuff. Which is kind of a fun idea. Some stuff like that. But didn't, even though we had more time, I didn't spend tons of time playing, largely because it was really crowded. Even day 2, there were a lot of people.
There. I checked out like a homebrew Game Boy Color game called Ghost Radio. That was like you're a kid camping with your mom, and it's like a horror game kind of thing in the woods. That seemed cool. It was not the environment to play it on though, so I'm just keeping an eye on it.
That's always the thing.
Yeah.
Joseph asks, have either of you heard of or tried UFO 50 yet? I put over 300 hours into it in the last 6 months or so. I think it's a masterpiece and a wonderful homage to classic and retro gaming. It's also my favorite for couch co-op, something that I feel is so wonderful but so often overlooked.
I wasn't aware that was a couch co-op.
It depends. A bunch of the games are.
Nice.
And couch PvP. There's several multiplayer games in it.
Yeah. Talk about intimidating. Good Lord. Like I've fucked around with it, but like not in a concerted kind of way.
Yes. I've played a decent amount of UFO 50. It is really intimidating. I think it is one of the neatest products that have ever been birthed. Like, and I say product very generally. I don't just mean game, like just in terms of things they sell. Like how fucking cool is UFO 50? But at the same time, I think everything is like 15% too hard.
Yeah.
With I'm not trying to sound, like a wuss or like bad game, mad game shit. It just gets in the way of it. Some of these games are really, really fun. They have this huge difficulty spike, and I know I can bounce off to something else, but I know old games are hard as well. But like, it's interesting playing Rygar again, and then playing UFO 50. And like the Rygar like on UFO 50 is fucking nuts. Like it's really, really hard. The Rakshaka game, it's like, it feels like a Kaizo Rygar, you know, in comparison. Like old games actually weren't that intense. It's got a little bit more challenge fuckery than I want.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. But generally great. Like it's really fun. Night Manor kicks ass. The Punch Out Dungeon Crawler kicks ass. The Tower Defense game is really, really good. The Lemmings game is really, really good. So a bunch of the games are really, really killer.
Yeah.
It's frustrating because it resists coverage. Any of those individual games we could cover.
Yeah.
But talk about like a subset of an audience.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, oh, we're covering Mortal 2. Like nobody knows what that is.
No.
So, and doing all of them is way too overwhelming. So it's it's a hard game to try to get on the network in a way too.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it would almost have to be like, we each pick like 3.
Yes.
And then, like the audience like votes and picks 3, like, just like we get like ranks for ones that people play. And then we just have like 9 of them that we can play, but maybe not beat.
Yeah. Even then if we were beating them, some of them are long, full games and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a podcast out there of people who are doing each of them.
Nice.
One a week.
Yeah.
So somebody's already done that. If you're looking for that, I've heard good things about that. I can't remember what it's called right this second, but I've heard good things about it. Check that out.
Yeah. Is that EP? Oh yeah, that's that's the Eggplant Wizards. That's Nick Sutner's podcast, right?
Yeah.
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 Yep. A year of UFO 50 miniseries on their thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea for a podcast.
Yes. Matthew writes, and we're moving on to life questions here. How has game/media literacy affected other aspects of your life? More specifically, how has being critical of things you enjoy and analyzing why you enjoy them or not enjoy them, changed the way that you think about other parts of your presumably human existence? You can never be sure.
Never be sure. I've always done this.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm always interested in like why I like things or why I don't. Even before it was work stuff.
Yeah.
So that has not changed that much. Like a very common, seeing a movie or something like that. There are a few exceptions, but even when I was, in my 20s and stuff, seeing a movie, like figuring out, whether this worked or this didn't work. Stuff like that has always been part of my process.
Just because, like, I don't know, I'm not incredibly social, but I like talking about the things that I enjoy, and that was the case before. So, like, if I was going to talk about it, I wanted to be able to explain to somebody in a way that felt adequate or persuasive, right?
Yeah. I don't feel like there's not a whole lot to talk about if you can't explain stuff like that. Like, you don't, we talk about Chris Farley show stuff. Like, you don't want to just get into like, this is great. Yeah, this is great. As a thing. I just don't, it's not that interesting as a conversation.
I haven't found that it's made it difficult for me to enjoy anything, right? Like it hasn't been a damper.
No. The only thing that's happened is there are things that I would quit that I don't quit because of work.
Yeah.
And because of work, there are things I would probably dive into, but I don't because of time, but that's any job, right?
Yeah.
Like, if like I'd probably play Rogue Trader if I was just a civilian gamer.
Yeah.
As opposed to enlisted. I'd probably have played Rogue Trader by now, for example.
Yeah.
I'm curious about it. I'll play it at some point though. I'm also patient.
Yeah.
It's a superpower.
Yeah.
Kicks ass.
And also being able to analyze media, think about it critically is just that those are transferable skills too. So
yeah. I think so. Aaron says, and still in life questions, I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I have to go to bat for the first time in a call and response. Spaghetti by the bucket is way better than it sounds. This is referencing a bucket-based restaurant that I brought up probably on an abject suffering.
Okay.
The spaghetti by the bucket is way better than it sounds. It was never going to be in Michelin, but it was banging comfort food if you like pasta and garlic bread. They had other pasta and sauce combos like white sauces and some really eccentric stuff like cheeseburger spaghetti. I didn't eat there every day for obvious reasons, but I did really enjoy a stop in once a month or so when I was feeling like exemplifying the bachelor lifestyle that I was living. I wish you guys could have joined me for a bucket once. Maybe just so I don't sound like such a lunatic defending a place called Spaghetti by the Bucket. Truly a unique place that apparently will be missed by few. Rest in peace, Spaghetti by the Bucket. Edit. As I'm realizing, this was just a little bit pedantic. Clears throat for best Dennis Miller impersonation. Rant, what would your wildest dream ideas for a bucket of pasta be?
I don't know that I have heard of anything more Mormon than a bucket of cheeseburger spaghetti.
A bucket of cheeseburger spaghetti to go. You go to Spaghetti by the Bucket, get yourself some cheeseburger spaghetti, and then like you're on the run. You are on the move. Nothing can stop you. It's like those Switch ads. Like I get to play this on the go, and by on the go I mean in my bed.
I mean, my wildest dream for Spaghetti by the Bucket. I don't know.
I like pasta.
See, the problem is not something like whenever you have pasta, it's always too much pasta. But also, like the idea of food by volume is not appealing to me as somebody who can enjoy a large meal. Like, it feels like buying books by the yard.
It reminds me of I think I've said this bit before on and after suffering as well. But at a certain point, I stopped going to buffets because all restaurants are all I can eat. I don't finish a meal and be like, man, I need another meal. Like everything is all you can eat. Yeah. Because I eat one meal and that's when I'm good with that one meal.
I eat until I don't want to eat anymore.
Yeah. In terms of dreams bucket food, I think like a lasagna, a bucket of lasagna.
Okay.
Would be very satisfying, especially if it had layers that went all the way down in the bucket, like kind of like a Jello, those Jello transitions or whatever, the Jello layers. You're talking about the Jello, the sediment.
You're talking like a not like a stoplight shot, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain kind of Jellos that have different periods. Like you can carbon date the different levels of Jello as you go down.
Yeah. I suppose if I was asking for anything, I would want a bucket of spaghetti that would resolve the conflict in Gaza.
Oh, that's a good answer.
It's kind of insulting you didn't. I mean,
I wish I had
your
thought of that.
priorities are weird.
I can't. Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, just stop that massacre. Yeah,
the Gaza bucket is probably what they should sell.
Why is nobody coming to my restaurant?
Palestinios, like I don't know. And also just to be clear, I have never been to Spaghetti by the Bucket. I just think it's funny, and I think food by the bucket is funny.
Yes. See also our discussions of $5 fill-ups.
Yeah, and KFC just generally as the bucket kings.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's see. That was you. So this will be me moving down to media questions. Moving down to media questions here, Charlotte asks, "Hey Gary, hey Cole, could you guys rank the members of the Kids in the Hall? Thanks." It's a short question, but I did not put it in lightning round because it is not a simple question.
It is a simple question, but not one that you should consider simply.
Yeah.
So this is something me and Will have talked about a bunch.
All right.
As well. So I have something in the tank.
Yeah, I did prep for this.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lay them on me.
Okay. So my number one is Dave Foley. I don't. That might be a basic pick, but I think that he is the most versatile and also has the best timing and delivery. Kevin McDonald, number two.
Okay.
He is, I don't know, there's something about his appearance and the way that he delivers things. Very good and also used in a wide variety of situations. Number three, this might be controversial. Bruce McCulloch.
Okay.
I really appreciate just like the weird, surreal, absurdist short films that he does.
Yep.
In there. Yeah. And just, his whole vibe. Number four, Scott Thompson. Something about him just really, I don't know, just like leaning into,
they're all geniuses.
Yeah, is the thing.
None of them need to work another day in their life if in a just world.
Yeah, no, they really shouldn't. And then the last one is Mark McKinney, and that isn't his fault. I feel like he's underutilized. Although he is my favorite part of my favorite Kids in the Hall sketch, which is 3 for the Moon. So
yeah, that moon. I go Bruce McCulloch is my favorite.
Okay.
Weirdo. And also me and all my friends got into his weird album, Shame-Based Man.
Okay.
Found that at a used record store. And that became like a thing. Then I go Dave Foley, Kevin McDonald, Mark McKinney, and then Scott Thompson's in the rear for me. But I do love all of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Scott Thompson had the most reoccurring characters.
Yeah.
At the time, Buddy Cole is funny and really groundbreaking, obviously, but it was a little one note.
Yeah.
If I'm being super honest, like
the ones that are just his monologues don't necessarily work for me, but him in a sketch,
he's really good in a sketch
as ironically like a straight man.
Just got feet, ain't got shoes, or just like a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
Yeah.
The Bruce McCullough also, in addition to the short film thing that you brought up, I like the songs.
Oh yeah.
Dave's I Know, Merkle Terrier is my favorite kind of breed. Like all these things that are just really, really good.
God, and Bruce McCullough, I don't know, it's getting into ranking favorites, but the dog for whom I feel nothing.
I love the dog for whom I feel nothing.
Me at home with my popcorn.
There's a lot of like really well observed Bruce McCullough things that are more sad than funny.
Yeah.
There's one where he's having sex where he's like, I don't want you to smell my after sex breath. to the lady, and I was like, man, that makes so much sense.
It does.
It doesn't make logical sense, but that's a real thing that happens.
The Bad Boss sketch, obviously, right?
Oh, really good. Yeah. I love the Kids in the Hall. If anybody listening to this hasn't watched the Amazon kind of reboot, the new season they did, it's really good. And it's like they've got it and they're really funny.
Yeah. I need to do that. I need to just do a whole series rewatch, honestly.
Yeah. It's great. Good use of your time.
Yeah.
James asked, music question. I want to thank Gary for introducing me to the Tubs. Their second album has recently gone down a storm with critics, and seeing a glowing review reminded me of Gary's recommendation. Has it been gratifying for Gary to see the boys from Wales hitting it big time? An ancillary question for both of you. Who are some of your favorite UK bands and artists? The new Tubs record is great. The first single had me a little worried. It sounds, and I'm not trying to ruin this for you, James, but it sounds a little bit like the chord progression from Delamitri's Roll to Me. Look up that video if you haven't. It's the one where the bands are all... it's a woman pushing around a crib with a bunch of babies with the band's heads superimposed on them. It's a really funny video.
Yeah.
The chord progression sounds a little bit like that.
Yeah.
Once I got over that, like there are tons of banger tracks on that record. It's really good. So it's been cool. I'm going to get to see them in June. Really excited for that. They're actually opening up for the birthday party or the birthday present, which is a band that I feel nothing for. So I'm just going to watch the opener and then go home. Very exciting though.
Nice.
Love the Tubs.
As far as like favorite UK bands, my favorite music from the Anglophone world is Canadian. So it's hard to say I've got my allegiances. I need to hear you, Gary. And there's ton. I like a lot of this stuff. So like a lot of British Invasion stuff. Like I love the Zombies. I'm a big Kinks fan, and then Mott the Hoople, like when in the 70s. Yeah, and then going up into like indie stuff. I like the Field Mice a lot. I really love as much as controversy acknowledged. I love the Smiths. Yes.
Things like that. So if I had to choose one, from that, it would probably be the Smiths, which is a real basic answer.
Yeah. But the name that kind of hits large for me is The Cure.
Sure. Yeah. The Cure is great.
Yeah. That's a big one. Like from my more like just, I don't know, college rock days, Arctic Monkeys are good. I've been listening to ever since I played Disco Elysium. What is it? Air Power, Sea Power. Yeah, Sea Power. Yeah.
Yeah. Joy Division.
Oh yeah.
Like all kinds of good shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about reading this whole next one, Gary, because it's just reviewing bits from Everything to Guppy.
Yeah. This is probably a good Like if we want to put in a note.
Okay.
We'll end this one. This is cute.
Yeah, but just somebody doing a review of Everything to Guppy in our comments.
Yeah. So appreciate.
Yeah. Let's see. Sam writes, Moving on to show questions. As someone who comfort listens to old podcasts when going to sleep, etc., do you find that some of your old podcasts get crazy high listens? Or does the listen stats vary more with the type or franchise of game? Yours, that guy who was still listening to the FF7 podcast at least once a month while asleep.
You should have been activated by now by all the sleeper phrases.
I know, right?
We put in.
I am the person who handles the numbers. I don't pay attention to when something spikes. I write down what the 30-day performance of an episode was so we can split the proceeds, and that is about it. Yeah,
it'd be interesting if something like got picked up on TikTok and we had a Harness Your Hope style like explosion in an old episode. But if so, I don't know what the mechanism for us discovering that other than obsessively going back forward and be like, ooh, this got 5 more listens, and rubbing our hands together, which is insane behavior.
Yeah, not something I want to do.
Yeah, not a good use of time.
Yes.
But I have stuff like that too. We were talking about it with somebody at Midwest Gaming Classic, actually, like not so much for podcasts, but I have Comfort put on in the background. The Dan Olsen video making fun of Doug Walker's The Wall. Like I've listened to that like 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
Just because it's great. I get a lot of joy out of it. It's very comfortable.
Passing Doug Walker's table at the Midwest Gaming Classic is a little bit like whistling past the graveyard.
It does feel like whistling past the graveyard. And I'm going to throw something out there. I walked by his panel and like we get roughly the same number of people. They should put us in the actual room.
They probably should.
You know?
Should we like mistreat a whole bunch of workers? Do you think that'll get us up there?
I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Look the fuck out, Gwen. Yeah, the change the channel, hashtag change the channel.
Jeez.
Yeah. No, I don't want to mistreat anybody, but also just, it does like whistling past a graveyard a little bit.
Yeah.
The Luke says, I always enjoy interacting with podcasts, submitting questions and feedback. This seems like it was written by an AI that's trying to like, do you?
All right, here's my credit card number.
Yeah, just very funny. Submitting questions and feedback, interacting on social media, or meeting the host. It's one of the reasons I tend to bounce off anything too big or mainstream. Yet, I tend to hear the same names over and over, so the numbers suggest most listeners are just passively engaging. How do you feel about engaging with content, or about your fans who get involved versus those who don't? If the numbers stayed the same, but you never heard from us, would it change your desire to keep making content?
I'd say
it's a good question. I'm sorry I made fun of the beginning of it.
Yeah. It's a very good question. I mean, it would feel less good if we didn't have people reacting to stuff. And I don't know. I appreciate everybody who responds. That sounds like I'm just glad handing, but it's where we are.
It's a thing that I was starving for a while.
Yeah.
And I like it now. I like interacting with people. I really like going out and meeting people and stuff. There is, for me, I don't have an unlimited appetite for it. So if, and every once in a while you do get like strays and drive-bys or just things that are like well-meaning, but kind of annoying. You know, just being honest, not calling anybody out, but like, you're smart people listening to this. You could intuit that was true before I said it.
Yeah.
Things like that. So like if the numbers all stay the same and people just kind of stopped reaching out, it would feel eerie. For a while, but I don't think it would hurt me too much.
Yeah,
I could adjust. The ideal thing is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
we're basically where we're at now, which is good.
So yeah, like I mean, as far as me engaging with content, they're just I don't know. Like I would never judge anybody for like. I don't know, interacting with us too much. Obviously there's a line. It would be like, okay, like that's way too many questions or way too many comments or whatever. Like, but like on holding myself to a different standard, like reaching out and commenting on something like, another show that I listen to, it feels like it would be too much. It feels like I should mind my own business.
I've done a couple interfaces on like Blue Sky or what have you.
Yeah.
But the difference being, so like I've reached out to podcasters I like on Blue Sky, did like, hey, I appreciate you, or like responded to them saying they've posted.
Yeah.
So I think about the podcast Stuff You Should Know, which I don't really listen to anymore, but used to listen to all the time. Yeah. Like have a lot, hundreds of episodes that. And one of the things that's wild with that is the first podcast I noticed where I can hear editing mistakes. And generally it's a thing where where one of these human beings will say something and then leave in the take, like leave in 2 takes for it. And I hear that. And I thought before, if I were a different kind of parasocial, even if I thought I was being helpful, I would like reach out and be like, actually you hit Scratchy's ribs and it made 2 distinct, the same rib twice and made 2 distinct sounds.
Yeah.
You made this editing error. That's the level I don't want to be at.
Yes.
So, telling, the House to Astonish guys or the HP podcast guys, I like them a lot. That makes sense to me. Going through and kind of enlisting myself as an editor doesn't.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, I'll respond if, I see like some of the Cool Zone people, post something like, I don't know, just reacting or riffing. And like the way that I interact with stuff mostly is just by, promoting it. So like, if I hear a really good episode of Knowledge Fight, I'll be like, hey, check this out. This is good. Yeah.
What does Gaz say?
Gaz says, I dropped this under a different post. There's just a little preamble there. Gaz says, I've just watched The Void 2016 for the first time, and I think it would be a good one for you guys to cover. It's more Lovecraftian than I was expecting, and I think you would both enjoy it, and it would be fun to hear you talk about it.
Oh, thanks, Gaz.
I know that the Void is an opinion-y movie. I do not know why. I just know that is one that has been kicking around, but we have not talked about it for some reason.
I'm not a huge fan of it. It's very in the remit of the show. So it's the original Unfilmable. Yeah. I watched that with our mutual friend Zach when I was in San Francisco. Okay. And neither of us particularly liked it. It's got really great practical effects and some really good images. We've covered way worse shit. Yeah. On Unfilmable. The thing that has stood in my way for The Void, and I could rewatch it. Yeah. I only seen it the once, but was the performances. It felt like it was trying to sell some real emotions, and the acting was just not nearly good enough for that. Specifically, the male lead, the cop guy, just sucked. And just kind of took me out of it. But again, I could stand to rewatch it at some point. Yep. It's hard now that we are only doing vanity picks on Unfilmable, to think of getting it on, because like we're no longer doing things within a specific remit. We're just choosing stuff we want to watch. Yeah. It's so funny that we keep calling, I was thinking about that. I keep calling those vanity picks. The insane vanity of choosing something you want to talk about it. Yeah. What hubris.
Yeah. The insane vanity of, I want to share this with my friend and also the people who listen to us.
Yeah. I have interesting things to say about this, so I'm going to choose to cover it. This is the thing I'm choosing to spend my time on. Oh, what vainglorious assholes. Yeah.
But it's just a word. It's a word we use, and it makes more sense on that's a word we use from WOFF, right?
Yes, and even then though, that's also not vain. To pick stuff that we want to talk about for our criticism thing. Every other critic in the world just does that. Yeah. Just chooses like, what else would we base it on? It's very funny. It's just another aspect of our weird guilt bullshit leaking out into things. I think.
It's convenient. We both know what the term means.
Well, the term is stuck. Yes. And I don't know how else to say, like, because we did it so long without considering our own picks that way. Yeah. We need to have a term for something that is just the baseline for everyone else who does similar jobs to us. Yes. It's something that didn't need a name, but we had to give it a name because of the weird way we did it from the beginning. Yeah.
In contrast to the other thing, like calling it a gimme is a weird thing because we still talk about what games we're going to do. It's like, hey, I want to do this. Will that fit in with what you have going on around the time we're recording that? Right.
Yeah. All that stuff is very meticulous and has always been. Also, if we called them gimmies, we'd have to give money to me first.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Me first, always taking the slice.
Yeah. Matthew says, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks. I've gone through the backlogs and listened to just about everything you put out, but one thing I'm not sure of is where does the name come from? Sure, you covered it at some point, but I'm clueless. Thanks. And as always, thank you, Gwen.
Thank you, Gwen. And thank you, Matthew.
Yeah. We answer this every couple months.
Yeah.
Not saying that to call you out. Just it's true. It is a thing from you and your brother.
Yes, it is from the first episode of Those Damn Ross Kids, an episode or a show that I probably don't stand by anymore, everything in it. But just from the first episode, just a strange little folksy aphorism that I made up about feeding the ducks, throwing some stuff out there. And when it came time to name the website where I was putting the 2 shows that I did at the time, that was just what it was. So,
Yep.
Names.
Let's move on to lightning round.
Let's lightning rounding it up. Dr. Jimmy Brungus. 2 doctors this time.
Jimmy Brungus. Yeah. Doctor to doctor.
Yeah. I understand this may not be the correct place for unfilmable requests, but I would like to see if you guys would be willing to have Brayton on as a guest and cover the eldritch horror that is Must Be Santa by Bob Dylan and or We Wish You a Turtle Christmas. You guys, Teenage Dirtbag is the most charming slice of media I've ever come across.
Oh, thank you.
I love Teenage Dirtbags. I love Brayton.
Me too. I miss it. I'm so happy that Brayton's coming back for a thing, even if it's just a guest thing.
Yeah.
I sincerely love that man.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. And also the idea of doing unfilmable on We Wish You a Turtle Christmas is really fun. Yeah, that's a good idea.
It is.
The other thing I was thinking about is I kind of want to, this is not Teenage Dirtbags. I'm sure Brayton would be involved if I did it, but
yeah.
I have to see how I'm feeling once From Soft announces another thing and we get fully into the Bloodline seasons of Real Lich Hours. But I kind of wanted to start a podcast with my bandmates. And the concept was we take turns putting forth the worst song.
Okay.
And then we decide if it's better or worse than the last one.
Oh.
Because it's really interesting to think of is Pretty Fly for a White Guy better or worse than Pinch Me by the Bare Naked Ladies?
Uh-huh.
And that felt like it could capture some Teenage Dirtbags energy.
Yeah.
And I'd want to get Brayton's expert opinion on some of this stuff.
Brayton coming in as as a judge and arbiter,
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the final decision. We make our cases to Judge Brayton.
Yeah. That's
but it's a really interesting idea to think can you imagine a podcast situation in which you have to be no, Pretty Fly for a White Guy is a better song than 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh, fuck, man.
And you have to stand by that.
Yeah.
A wild thing to say. Cotton Eye Joe is a better song than Your Own Worst Enemy by Lit. Just having those sentences on record, it sounds like I'm collecting evidence, to use against people or something. But it's just, I like it when people are forced to say insane shit, that is true to them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's my worry about doing that is my bad song reference is 20 years old at this point.
Yes. So is everybody in the band though.
Yeah.
We're all the same age. So we spend a lot of time making fun of 90s music.
Yeah.
A long bit at the last practice about Scott Weiland sneaking in, getting really obsessed with World War II. And then it transitioned to sneaking in lyrics about it, but it was all advice to the Axis powers and how they could have done better. And just slowly picking that up over the course of listening to Core.
I'm trying to rework Plush about not invading not invading Russia in winter.
Yeah. Where you don't invade Russia.
It's cold, cold there in the winter. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, just thinking grunge guys and you're what the hell?
Oh my God. What's Troy say?
Yeah. Troy says, "Hey guys, the Cybermania 94 adaptation decay had me grinning ear to ear. Thank you. Just curious who you used in Street Fighter 2 back in the 90s and why." And then there's an emoji that's just wild and out. Thanks for all the wonderful constant content. A fucking plus. Oh, a fucking plus, not a single fucking plus.
I'd take either.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Who's your Street Fighter main? We never talked about this.
Oh, and
I'm sure we did. We did an episode on Street Fighter.
We
but
did.
I can't remember what we said.
I've generally gone Ken because I understood his moves. Yeah.
Yeah. I started as a Blanca person just because he was a big scary monster, and then transitioned to Guile.
Okay, yeah.
For my patriotism. It was actually the music.
You like charge attacks.
I like charge characters and the music. Like Guile's theme is great.
Yeah.
Love Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, I did a lot of Blanca, like when I was real young, because he was a scary monster man who could zap people. That was fun. But yeah.
It's also worth noting, once we got into Championship Edition, I switched to an M. Bison.
Yes.
As kind of the apotheosis of charge move characters. I love M. Bison. So,
Dylan writes, I have a follow-up to someone's show question last week on what Games Club means in the podcast description. When did you guys switch over from being a retro games podcast? What inspired that decision?
Yeah, we haven't talked about this in a long time.
Yeah.
Do you know when that was?
It was after we did Dishonored 2. It was in one of those, like maybe it was the 2018 shakeup that we did. It was It was around there because, like, I remember when we did Dishonored 2, it was like, oh, this is the newest thing we've ever done. And it was because both of us loved Dishonored and wanted an excuse to play it. So it's like, yeah, we'll make an exception. Like, we can do this, occasionally, right?
The original Genesis was Watch Out for Lens Flare.
Oh, yeah.
Like a special thing we did where we did 4 episodes that we considered on new games in a row.
I forgot about that.
And thinking about that, podcasting for me, and this has happened on Days of Future Cast, most notably. And I guess it happens with Guppies as well, is when you realize like the upside of not having a boss. Like if you want to do it, you just do it.
Yeah. There's
no rules. We started with that kind of remit and then decided it was limiting. We wanted to move on from it. I think that was like, and it's also partially inspired by how tedious it is to argue what is retro.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Retronauts uses the 10 years thing. I'm fine with 10 years as a marker, but also like, does it matter? Because you're just going to get people arguing with you. Like they just did an episode on Bloodborne.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that their comments has some people who are mad about that. And it's like, well, it's 10 years old. Like you are going to get older.
Yeah.
The past is an infinite planet. We live in it as well. It's just some silly to cut it off. Retro Games Podcast was a little bit of like is a remit to give us bounding box for creativity. And then it also is kind of a marketing thing.
Yeah.
A little bit. It's kind of a marketing plus.
Just a way to make it like not just, have to remember it was 2011, like everybody was rushing and doing the like, oh, here's a couple guys, here's 2 to 4 guys talking about video games. It was like, oh, here's like a specific hook. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That was kind of the idea. And then also at the time, because you had the level, that new games were kind of covered.
Yes.
Like the level was the 1D4 plus 1 guys talking about just games and news.
Yes.
What you playing.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So, God, whenever I think about that retro distinction, I forget like what year this was, but I remember we were tabling at the Portland Retro Games Expo.
Oh, you're talking about the kid who like argued with us about the definition?
No, I'm talking about the old guy. The little kid who was like 12 at the time. That was more funny / irritating, but it was an older guy who came up to the table and we did the pitch like, oh, we're a Retro Games podcast. It's like, well, what's retro? And we said, we've done we do mostly like Super Nintendo stuff. Like we go up to
at the time we defined it as not current.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we had done PS2 and PS1 games and stuff there as well, but we had done a lot of Super Nintendo era stuff early on.
Yeah. And he was, but I was like, just like think like around like Super Nintendo or something. And he's like, oh, well, I don't talk about anything newer than Donkey Kong or something like that. He was just like, if you're talking about something newer than that, then it can't be retro. He wasn't being a snob about it, but just like that's what's retro to me. And that was like a real like just not gut punch, but like it obviously is stuck around in my mind.
It stuck around in my mind as a weird thing to say for somebody who was older than us to kind of do that. It wasn't a gut punch. I didn't feel bad. It felt like, what an odd thing to have that strong of an opinion on and a mortgage.
Yes.
And now that I have a mortgage, I feel like doubly about that.
Yeah.
That's just that seems a little silly to me. So bounding boxes, useful until they're not.
Yeah. The inspiration for the decision was just us like, oh, we want to expand. We want to talk about new stuff too. It just literally, we are our own bosses. We're established. We have an audience. We think that they're going to take the ride with us, and we have not necessarily lost. The thing that has made more people get turned off has been our coverage of indie games. Oh, this has turned into an indie game podcast, and for that, it's like, I don't know. I'm not going to apologize for it.
Indie games are really huge.
Yeah.
They're big and they're interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of going back to that vanity pick conversation, it is not us feeling guilty, which I'm not putting you on because I do it to you, us feeling guilty or disclaiming or making it a to-do to talk about stuff we have things to say about is insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how this works.
Yes.
But because of our weird upbringings and probably chemicals we got in our brains about it.
Yeah.
Eric says, do either of you have a favorite musical, movie, or play other than the butthole cut of Cats? Yeah.
I do.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I knew that was going to be your answer.
Yeah. All of the problematic elements, owned, considered. I just really, really like that music quite a bit. I think that Origin of Love is one of the most beautiful songs ever written.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm certain that there are things that are cartoons that are technically musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
But my genuine answer for this is the movie Cats. Realizing that I've seen that 3 times now, and I have a lot of affection for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fucking weird. I was thinking about in theater experiences.
Mm-hmm.
When me and Will went and saw that last movie I saw before the COVID lockdown. It was the reputation for the movie had come out. So it was us. And there were probably maybe a couple people who were just like, oh, I love the musical Cats. I'm going to go see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were there because of the train wreck appeal.
Yeah, yeah.
The end of that movie begins with what feels like a 15-minute section of Dame Judi Dench calmly explaining things at the end, including that a cat is not a dog. And she lays that on out of nowhere. That line comes out like it's profound, but it comes out of nowhere. She just stares directly into your soul and says it. And the theater was fucking losing it. The energy in the theater, the nervous energy as this kept going was something I wish I could have on tap. It was just incredible stuff. So it's probably, unless I'm sure there's something I'm not thinking of that's that's technically a musical. I don't know, is the Tim and Eric Crimbus special a musical?
Right.
Is the Tim and Eric movie a musical? Kinda.
A little bit.
There's probably things I like less ironically more than that. But the movie Cats, I think I've decided I genuinely think is worthwhile because it's so fucking bonkers.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an irony fuck answer, non-derogatory.
Yeah, a little bit.
You also I don't believe in guilty pleasures. You like what you like, and you've derived a lot of enjoyment out of it.
I've derived so much enjoyment from it.
Yeah,
it's so fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really weird movie. There's nothing else like it. Yeah.
Cinderelf asks, do you think the line "rock and roll, no Halo" from the 2011 LMFAO song "Party Rock Anthem" is referring to the video game series or the religious concept?
Or both.
I mean, religious concept, I have no idea. I've never listened to the lyrics of that song. But I would say, it's rock and roll. We don't need to pretend to be good people. Get that church shit out of here.
It's a common misconception. The original line was actually "rock and roll, no marathon."
Oh yeah.
And they actually changed it to be about the video game series. They updated it.
Yeah. It's how they update the Monster Mash every year.
Exactly, with new monsters. Art the Terrifier was hanging out. That kind of shit. Naveen says, oh no, each one of your cats got lost among 99 other physically similar felines. Which of your cats could you find the fastest and why?
I could probably
Which cat could you pick out quicker?
I could probably find Greta quicker because she would come to me, in a sea of gray cats. And also I know her specific size very well. Yes. I could find Dottie because she would be the one who would run away from me the fastest. Yeah.
Be very easy to find Pocket. Pocket's got a very distinct personality.
Yeah.
And stuff. And he's also, shockingly loyal to me. Pocket comes when called. He has a lot of dog-like behavior. for me. So Pac would be very easy. Yeah. Jessica, if she was in relax mode and the other cats are in relax mode, it'd be difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Jessica also has a very distinct size too.
That's true. But I'm assuming physically similar felines means sizes as well, not just coloration.
Yeah.
What does Brandon say?
Brandon says, how are the Portland Retro Gaming Expo and Midwest Gaming Classic different? Does one have more dump dish simulators while the other offers an array of name that max spell games?
That's Max, MAX, the Portland Public Transit.
Yes.
Yeah. Maxes generally don't smell that bad. No. Like I've found. Yeah. Like it's in terms of transit, like, if you ignore the weird conservative Portland Reddit,
right?
The Portland which is the conservative one. Most of the things they say are just not true.
Yeah.
On there, and one of them is that the Max smells bad. Like I'm sure I've smelled something bad on the Max before, but generally my experience with transit are fine.
Yeah. No, my experience with the Max has been just pure envy more than anything.
Yeah, it's a rail system. It fucking rules.
Yeah.
Everyone just lies about. I'm not calling Brandon out for this. This is me reacting to Fox News commentators. Brandon was making a joke. I'm not trying to sound defensive. They're very different actually, and have gotten more different as time goes on. Midwest Gaming Classic. We were remarking on this last time. They put money into that.
They do. Yeah.
Like that is a expensive looking show. There's a lot of fancy signage and lighting and things like that. It's big.
Yeah.
It has gotten bigger than Portland. It's sprawled quite a bit. It is, and the Portland one is a little bit more, like not mercenary. Like that's not the word. It's a little, I think that the venue they do it in, and because Portland's more expensive, the money feels like it's more of a concern.
Yeah.
There. The Portland one, I think, is probably marginally better run. Again, just marginally. So. Like the way they set up their panels, like they have a specific volunteer assigned to every room who kind of ushers people in and out. They stagger the times really well for that. So that part of it is probably run a little bit better.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think that Portland has like more of a store aspect to it than Midwest Gaming Classic. While understanding both of them are store.
You probably by volume, it's slightly more store.
Yeah.
It's hard to say which one. We haven't been back to Portland in a while. I would love to.
Yeah, me too.
It's probably time to reach out. A little reminder for Gary. But I'd like to come back. They're both good.
Agreed.
Speaking of, though, a little caveat on that. Chapel says, I suspect this might be the topic of the episode, but if not, how did your panel go? So, we did our panel, Midwest Gaming Classic. We think the panel is good, and people told us it was good.
Yes.
This was, and not calling anybody out, don't want to get anybody in trouble. I don't feel like, we talked about this, they didn't take care of us real well.
Yeah.
There. Again, not trying to talk shit or burn any bridges. It just kind of the person who set up the panel kind of like just left us to our own devices in terms of AV and things like that. The AV hookups were very limited.
Yeah.
In a way that felt like just kind of surprising and was not always true of them. We couldn't get a soundboard recording.
No.
Of it because of like a dumb AV thing.
So like, I need to check the quality of the iPhone recording that I got.
Yeah.
I checked it, like listening to it on the phone speakers in the hotel, and like it sounded fine, but like with something like that, it really can vary really widely. So
yeah, we'll see. If not, we can use those notes and use that panel again.
Yes.
Because it went pretty well. I thought, and ordinarily I wouldn't just feel that naturally because of all the brain chemical things, but people came up to us and was like, no, that's a really good panel. Like you guys did a good job.
Yeah.
People were very nice about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will see the light of day in some way, shape or form.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then last one here real quick, Tout Vetus asks us, when's Bray coming back?
Well, you stay tuned.
You've got Brayton on the brain.
Yeah. We get Brayton. You stay tuned for later in the episode. Yeah. Let's move on to our topic.
Yeah. We have a topic suggestion here from Vivian, who says, what makes a good minigame? How much should it tie back into the main game? Like the prizes in the RE4 remake, the Resident Evil 4 remake, giving some trinkets, or the gambling in New Vegas being affected by your luck and giving back caps.
This is a good question.
It is.
Yeah, minigames. To what purpose? A minigame. Why do we have minigames?
So, I mean, why minigames, I think, is to give variety to the pacing. I also think for a while they ended up being a back-of-the-box kind of feature.
Yes.
Kind of deal. And also, like, the role that minigames serve, and this feels too obvious to say out loud, but I'm going to say it, is to help turn an aspect of the game world or story or a task into a game, into something you can do in the game that falls outside of the standard interaction model of it.
The primary mechanic, like having a different abstraction model for a different thing within the game. But there's definitely, it's worth saying those things that are really obvious because there are kind of assumptions built into it, right? Like only certain games have mini games.
Yes.
Like certain types, certain genres, right? Have mini games. Like a game needs to have a wide enough scope and world to need to have action broken up.
Yes.
Really for this, you don't run into mini games. It would be silly if Balatro had a mini game.
Yeah.
Like that's not what we're going to do here.
If Balatro had an active reload mini game.
Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So there's you have to be, I think to your second point, it feels like you should be abstracting multiple things. Like you're abstracting a world, you're going to have other interaction models that you're going to have come in. And if you need that break through there. I think in terms, when you talk about it being a back of the box quote for a little while, I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
There was a time in which I was pretty angry at mini games. There are people who who have unlimited appetite for them. I get it. For me, it is a pacing thing, and like all pacing things, you have to be really tactical with its deployment.
Yeah.
If my interaction model is changing constantly, if I'm just constantly being shown a new mini game for something, like, what am I doing? Like, I'm not really playing the game. I mean, it can feel like a distraction, or it can feel like being kind of shunted off.
Yeah. As much as I loved Queen's Blood and that weird little Fort Condor tactical mini game, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got silly. I think in hindsight, we can say that.
Yeah. Well, the sequel especially, right?
I'm speaking specifically of Rebirth. Yeah,
that's the main thing I saw about it, was that it was just a nonstop, here's a new thing. Like, I'm worried you might get bored for 2 seconds. So you're going to nonstop be introduced to new things.
On balance, I like that game, but it's silly. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's a mistake to go overboard with it, and it can happen a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of the examples Vivian brought up, I always like it when the minigame plays into the main game.
Oh, yeah. Integration in all things, please.
Yes. If I'm just taking a break to do some fishing and it is just next to what I'm doing, like I can't use those fish for something.
Yeah.
There's no point. I don't want to do it.
I mean, perennial examples that I always give, triple triad. Right, being one of the key ways that you break that you break Final Fantasy VIII, and breaking that game is the main fun of it. And the fishing in Breath of Fire 3, which is the main way that you get your most powerful recovery items.
Well, you can also do a example and counterexample with triple triad and the other one.
Oh, Tetra Panic or whatever.
Yeah, Tetra Master, which is not integrated at all.
No,
Tetra Master is a worse game, and that's worth talking about. In terms of it just not being as funny a game, but it also is not integrated at all. You have the one tournament you have to do as part of the plot. So it forces you to play it once, but there's no reason after that to do it. There's no resource, there's no mechanical upside to it. If the game was triple triad in terms of fun, I still think I would not have played it outside of the main thing. It's a big reason why I didn't play very much the Witcher 3 one.
Gwent, yeah.
Gwent. I didn't play very much Gwent. I've heard Gwent is actually pretty good. And I, in the world, Geralt would just be doing that to pass the time. I get it. That game could use some breaking up.
Yeah.
I get it. I wanted it to be integrated. You know, I want that integration because otherwise it feels less real to me that my character would stop and do it.
I had high hopes for how Triple Triad was going to be kind of, you know, when I found out that Final Fantasy XIV had a bunch of Triple Triad in it, I was like, oh, yeah, awesome. Like, that seems like a really good way to kind of fit it in. And it just didn't hook into enough stuff, at least that I encountered in the time that I played the game. So
I really want things to hook in.
Yeah.
You know, quite a bit. In terms of, weirdly, you know, we talked about the Final Fantasy VII sequel remake being a problem. I really liked them in the first Final Fantasy VII.
Oh God, yeah.
It's one of my fondest memories of that game. And I think it's largely because one, they tend to be fun. You know, they're weird. Like that Fort Condor strategy thing's a little weird. You know, they're ones that are janky, but the snowboarding is fun on its own. You know, chocobo racing is, the mechanics of doing it isn't fun, but the eugenics part is kind of fun and interesting.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. I like that. Like it breaks up the pacing really well. As much as it's silly to go snowboarding after Eris dies, like, you know, and I've seen people go to bat for that decision. Like, oh, that's actually genius and stuff. I don't know if I necessarily buy that.
I feel neutral. Yeah.
One of the things that's forgotten in that conversation is that you just did one of the sloggiest dungeons of all time with the Nameless City or City of the Nameless or whatever.
Right.
And that's so fucking annoying as a dungeon. So like just going down the mountain, snowboarding felt great. It broke up the mechanical pace.
Yeah.
In a really good way, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like, this also is obvious, but I think it bears saying, like, it helps if the game is good, right?
Big time.
Like, I don't know, like, I don't care for Knights of the Old Republic very much. Just, it's a very awkward period for BioWare games, but like Space Blackjack and that is good. The Sabak or whatever it is you play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when it's bad, it can be excruciating. I think about like fishing in Nier.
Yeah.
You know, as a thing, like it's hard to call that a mini game. It's just a poorly explained mechanic almost, but it's, you know, a famously bad thing to have happen. The idea was still the same for it to serve its purpose. They just needed to try harder, you know, and I think that there's a weird kind of exception carve out that people will do sometimes for mini games where like people will not give a shit if it's done well. You know, like, oh, that's just a mini game. Like, and then you run into it's optional. Right. Thing. And like it can be optional, but it shouldn't be disconnected. And two, like if it's on the plate, why not make it good?
Exactly. Especially if it's something that you encounter with any frequency. Big time.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons why, you know, New Vegas, or I think about the game Gun. You know, any game that has a card section. The reason why those are fun and I always put some time into them is because I like the game. Like I like blackjack.
Yeah.
You know, New Vegas, when you get to Prim for the first time, that's a really genius minigame placement, having a casino in Prim, because one, you need an early economy boost.
Yes.
For that. And two, that is the perfect amount of time to have been playing to take a little bit of time off. And when I say take a little bit of time off, like it's very little. You know,
yeah, like
15 minutes.
I'm going to spend, 20 minutes playing some blackjack and discovering that railroad isn't very good. Caravan. Yeah. I don't know, slot machines still are not engaging to me.
And it hits the pacing well. It's been really charming. Josh Sawyer on Blue Sky is in a going to bat for Caravan.
Oh, he's done that for years.
I know. It's cute. It's charming. Like, I disagree. I still don't think it's a good game, but it is very sweet. Yeah.
That frequency of encounter thing is important too. Like, it's almost like too slight to consider it a mini game, but like the chest opening little Simon game that you play in Mass Effect is egregious. It adds nothing, and it is something that you do incredibly frequently. Failing it doesn't really matter, but it is still enough of a gear shift that it is extremely disruptive when it pops up. Yeah.
Compared to like the Chad lockpicking minigame.
Yes.
One of the things is that whenever you are, and this plays into the Oblivion conversation system. I don't want to burn cast for our eventual dining out on that for 45 minutes to an hour and a half. But there's a degree of how much you're modeling the thing that you're doing is that in addition to just being a fun video game and feeling integrated so it doesn't break the fantasy. And I think about lockpicking or like hacking in Fallout 3.
Yeah.
And how those, don't actually, they're not modeling one-to-one either of those activities, but they feel enough like them. So even though you're doing them frequently, they're good enough games and they're fun enough and they're quick enough that it actually works as a pacing break versus that Mass Effect thing, which does not feel like you're actually doing a thing that has to do with what you're doing.
No.
If that makes sense. Yeah. And the least, the example that is the worst of that is the conversation in Oblivion, which is nothing like what you're emulating. Like that does not feel like a persuasion model.
No, not at all.
Even a little bit like, oh, you've insulted me. That's no good. Oh, no joke though. I'll take that. Praise. I'll take that. But don't, I can't remember what the fourth one is.
Yeah.
But they're just being four things you can do to somebody.
Like all in a row.
Yes. And you just have to kind of balance them based on a nebulous value of how much wedge it gets. Like I love that fucking thing. It's so bad.
It is such a delight.
It's such trash. I can't believe it came out of not just a major video game, but one of the most popular and influential games of all time. Has that conversation model. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of hacking mini games, I will go to bat for the Alpha Protocol. Speaking of Josh Sawyer stuff, the Alpha Protocol hacking mini game where you're kind of lining up the two data things, looking for the matches. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's good. It's hard to control on the mouse, which is always a thing that people, there's like a mouse sensitivity issue with it, but it's a good hacking game. Another way that it's interesting to think about mini game as a broader definition as well, because if we consider it to be something used to break up the pace with a different interaction model, like I'm sure somebody could make an argument that say like the social links in Persona are a mini game.
I don't know. That just feels like one half of the game you play.
Yeah, it's like a maxi game.
Yeah,
but like there's kind of it's interesting to define terms basically because it can sprawl. If you make this too broad, it can be too big. I think.
I mean, it feels worth mentioning just when there's a whole other like actual other game inside the game. As a thing.
You mean like Maniac Mansion and Day of the Tentacle?
Yeah, although that's like a fun little thing that gets in there. I'm thinking like in Yakuza and Shenmue, where you can just like go to an arcade and play one of Yu Suzuki's not very good Sega arcade games, right?
Yeah, if you want to play Hang On for some reason.
Yeah.
You're in Space Harrier. Yeah. It's interesting how with those games specifically, Yakuza actually, where the mini games are what people like about it.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while you'll hear somebody go to bat for the main mechanics of those games, but it's rare.
Yeah.
And people just want them as an excuse to do real estate moguling and karaoke. And I know multiple people learn to play Mahjong.
Yeah.
Because of Yakuza. Nobody is talking about like getting good at the fighting system.
Yeah, the tappa. Yeah.
Because it's dog shit. And nobody wants to fucking say it.
Yeah. No, what they want is the life sim. Like here's an entire entertainment district that I can go to and have a, very entertaining crime drama story reeled out through it. Right.
It makes me wish that there was the confidence to just have that be the game.
Yeah.
Like you live in the city, you can do all the city shit, but, turn the rest of it into, story. It's all basically cutscenes now. Just get rid of the fights.
The coin game Tokyo edition when?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be great. That's a great idea. The coin game is a really good, proof that this can work.
Yes.
As a thing that all mini games. Yeah. So we did kind of say what makes them good is that they're good. But also just being spaced out is really important and being used and kind of matching the fantasy, I guess. Matching the interaction model, making sense within the world.
And integrating into it mechanically, right? Even if it is just the economics.
Yep. Yes. And that's also a preference thing. I know there are people who think that's bad, specifically bad.
Because it's like, it compels you to engage with this thing. And
yeah. But we're team, we choose which buttons we press.
Yes.
In terms of video games, like something being optimal does not make me want to do it. If it's not fun.
Same.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Mm-hmm. We appreciate you for writing in.
We do.
Yeah.
Let's go on to game responses. A little bit short just because it's a weird month for games that we're covering.
Yeah. And people did not have a whole lot to say about some of them, which is surprising. I'll get us started here just because I want to say the username. Cum Shot Gunman. Cum Shot Gunman asks, Cole, did you ever go back and play Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance as Dritzt?
Things that I say that I'm going to do in the middle of recording a show, you should treat those like plans that you make at the bar when you're drunk.
That's just you, like you're yelling them out in the middle of sex.
We're just talking.
Just talking. If you ever replay Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance, you'd probably play as Dritzt.
Probably, yeah.
Still have that save?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah. I mean, if you still have it.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But,
I could also just
download
a save and just unlock them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I replay that game, I was tempted, because I had a flight coming up and it felt like a good plane game, but I ended up just playing more Divinity Original Sin 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on to Rygar. We have Andrew who says, Rygar was the most mysterious game in my dad's NES collection. When I was 5 years old or so, I remember starting it and quickly getting to the screen where a wise man sits on a pillar telling you where to go. For some reason, I thought that I was supposed to go past him rather than go back outside into the actual level. So I jumped towards him, fell into the chasm, and got an immediate game over. I did this so many times I convinced myself that this was the entire game, just a hostile 2-minute experience, and hid the cartridge because it made me uncomfortable. I love that so much.
This is a response to getting weirder and weirder by the sentence.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
Kids are dumb, but I just booted this up again and jumped into the void for old time's sake. Thanks, Rygar.
Yeah, hit it. That's some real creepypasta.
It is.
Stuff. And the 2-minute game where you just jump into the chasm is also real, like you have to burn the rope.
Uh-huh.
You had to super win the game or whatever, like those art games from the late 2000s.
An extremely Dadaist thing to commit to I assume, expensive production.
Yeah, a cartridge.
Yeah.
They would be wild by Trade West, by a company, the Double Dragon people.
Yeah.
Dylan says, during 2020 and 2021, I worked in the COVID response as an emergency management professional. I lived out of a long-term stay hotel with a bunch of other staffers, all part of the same company, and we started bonding and hanging out at the hotel once testing was more available. One of them was a man in his mid-40s named Ryan, who went by the nickname Rygar. We were both big retro Nintendo nerds, so I assumed that he took the name from the game, but it turned out he had never heard of it. One of the staffers had a jailbroken NES Mini that had the entire library of NES games. So Ryan and I spent an evening playing Rygar together, all while he's clapping like a circus seal at this goofy, colorful game. It was an awesome example of video games bringing people together, especially during the first year of COVID when we were all up over the country. Unfortunately, I never thought to ask how he did come up with the nickname Rygar, which is a major whiff on my part.
Legitimate excuses to reconnect from people who just kind of drifted by are so rare.
Yeah, you can Dylan. Reach out, just email.
Yeah.
That is very cute.
That is.
I would have also assumed that they were Rygar from the Rygar.
Yeah. It's just like, your screen name is, I don't know, Come Together. Oh, like the Beatles song? No.
Yeah. No, nothing like, no, or like the, like the Michael Jackson song.
Yeah. Gregory writes, hey guys, I can't describe the flash of nostalgia-driven adrenaline I got when I heard you were doing Rygar without it sounding sexual. Thanks. So I'll get to my thoughts.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. This was high on my and my cousin's list of favorite NES games growing up. He was and still is in some ways my best friend. He knows me better than most, but for reasons seemingly inexplicable, we are a little more than arm's length away from each other. When this episode posted, I immediately shared it with him. I've been sharing relevant shows you've done with him for years, and I think maybe he'd been checking some out, but he immediately responded to this, affirming that he'd listen soon. I never beat this, and in a way, that's somewhat analogous for my and my cousin's estrangement. We have a deep, unfettered platonic love for each other, much like we do for this game, and yet have never made the full commitment to completing the process of knowing the subjects completely. I know you like these concise, so I'll just say that I love my cousin Anthony. I love this game, and I love you guys for doing this show. Great episode. I hope you had fun at the Midwest Gaming Classic. Hope to check it out next year.
Nice.
What an intimate response.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully you'll check it out. We'll meet you.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. And thanks for spreading the word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And hopefully Rygar can bring you together.
I mean, as it has us all.
Yes, we all unite under Rygar. Moving on to the suffering responses, we didn't get any.
Nope.
We just have some old responses that didn't fit into categories.
Yes. If you have thoughts about the suffering after, about the continuing adventures of Torque.
If you're slapping your head. Yeah. If you're like, fuck, I wanted to write in about Torque.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you fucking Torque hounds out there. You got to speak up. No one's going to speak for you.
Yeah. No, there's a fucking silent majority out there just letting themselves down left and right.
Twerking under the covers, like just hidden twerkers.
But yeah, people write in and it doesn't fit into specific things, but I just kind of went back and grabbed some recent ones. Cyrus writes, not sure this fits into any of the shows, but I had to share regardless. A recent rewatch of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy has caused me to start a Green Goblin run of Dark Souls, where I play as a cilantro-hued pyromancer maniac, rolling around Lordran, hurling fire and bombs while cackling in my house like a madman. It has been so much fun. In the words of Willem Dafoe's Norman Osborn, we're going to have a hell of a time.
Green Goblin's so good.
Green Goblin is great. I love it.
They made a replica of the mask.
Did they?
The Marvel Legends company does some replica things. There's also a human-sized Magneto helmet I've been tempted by for a long time.
Okay.
But the Green Goblin mask, like literally having that on my wall so it could whisper at me.
Oh yeah, no, just having a like having a conduit for my intrusive thoughts.
Yeah, that seems very like tempting and stupid.
Yeah.
In kind of a Needful Things kind of way, the little Tales from the Dark Side, the TV series move. Like, no, I'm in. Like, I would enjoy that.
Very much so. I want to see like what one of these is on the bit. Oh, they're like $100. That's not enough. That's too much for the bit.
Yeah, it's 10 times my novelty purchase price.
Yes.
But my novelty purchase price is going to have to go up with tariffs, but also the price of that's going to go up.
So
we'll see.
Yeah.
The toy market is fucked.
It's so bad.
Chris says, well, this won't hit that sleepy dream desire you're looking for, but if you're ever in Ontario, Canada, a brewery here called Willibald makes a hard seltzer called Purple. I was never a Dimetapp kid, but Purple tastes exactly like it. So if you're ever in or around Toronto and see it on tap, give it a shot.
I can modify that. I can just break open some Benadryl capsules and mix it in there.
I can also just drink Dimetapp.
I think that they changed the grape flavor. It's not the same.
Yeah, that's true.
No, this is referring to me always being on the trail of anything that tastes like Dimetapp, because it was this magical substance when I was a kid that tasted good, but also gave me the only satisfying sleep I have ever had in my 37 years of life. Yeah.
When you're a kid, you're always in the market for things that taste good and make you real sleepy. It's a shame that people take advantage of it, but it is true.
Jesus.
I would, if I could ever if I visit Canada, I would definitely try.
If I could ever get in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows, right? Like people, what is it? Somebody coming back got like detained for a long time and shit. Like things are,
deteriorating
rapidly.
Yeah. And final one here from Kieran. Kieran says, hey dudes, I'm channeling my urge to be that guy into something funny and want to be clear that you haven't pronounced anything wrong.
Thank you.
People obviously know what you're saying. I just found some funny things about Vietnamese as an English speaker while learning it, and y'all talking about banh mi made me want to write in. Banh mi, when said with a North Vietnamese accent, sounds just like you're saying bang me. Google Translate is accurate there, LMAO. On top of that, their money is called dong. Hee, but it goes deeper. That word also means copper, which is Cu in the periodic table. Q can also be slang for penis, so it's just dick money all the way down. My Vietnamese friend would pull this money out of his wallet in class and just go, hey, want to see my massive dong? Anyway, no question, psych.
That's great. I love it when people want to see my massive dong. Right? I love it when there's an online-ness that makes me not want to make that joke.
Yes.
Because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And that's generally a good impulse, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to make fun of someone's language.
No.
If I spoke English and I was Vietnamese, I would be saying that kind of shit all the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If I had the license.
And if one of my friends did it, it would crack me up every single time.
Yeah.
Like, I want to have fun with language.
Mm-hmm. See, language is one of the most fun things that there is the thing about it. Like my instinct against making that joke would be like, oh, it's real low hanging fruit, right? Oh, it's juvenile. It's obviously been done 1,000 times, blah, blah, blah. The thing about those jokes is like doing them like as an anti-joke or just doing them sincerely can be very funny.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I can't pick up a stud detector without putting it on my chest and going beep, beep, beep.
Yeah.
Right?
It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And it's also, it's not a big commitment. If I had a wad of cash and I could call it dong, me just referring to it as dong every single time takes up, half a second.
Yes.
And stuff. But, it'd be worth it just to add a little bit of joy to the world.
Yeah.
Like it. Mm-hmm. And then ordering a bang me.
Come on.
That too, with your dong. Like you offer a dong in exchange for bang me.
That turns into sexual harassment of a service worker very quickly.
That is really true. But just with friends, you can make those kind of jokes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
And I appreciate you saying that I didn't pronounce anything wrong.
Thank you.
Because I do that all the time.
Yeah.
And
the inherent understanding that language is about communication.
Yeah. And it's not something I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everyone for writing in. If you have responses about maze games, you can write in at Duckfeed.tv/contact. Those games are Satisfactory, Resident Evil 6, and Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies. Write in by the 15th of May.
Yes. At Duckfeed.tv/contact. Keep your thoughts specific and concise, please.
Yes.
And if you have thoughts about June's games, write in by June the 15th at the same place with the same general rules. June's games are, we're covering The Last Door Season 2.
Part of the a patron sponsored both seasons. But we wanted to break those up. We like to do that. Now we try not to do double EPs. So we're going to continue the story. After that, we are doing a game. So this the Satisfactory episode is Cole and Ben Merkle. We're doing Red Alert 2, Yuri's Revenge, the expansion for Red Alert 2. And that's going to be me and Brayton.
Yeah.
Sponsored by Craig.
Yeah. Like we've alluded to this, we're not being coy boys so much anymore. But people were asking, where's Brayton? Here's Brayton. We're both really excited. I need to issue a correction. I think I said it wasn't the expansion before. It is explicitly the expansion. Okay. Yes.
So I checked the email again and double checked. Apologies if that has thrown anybody off their stride. I had a brief moment of panic that I wasted a bunch of Brayton's time.
Oh no.
Yeah. But no, I told Brayton hey, it's the expansion. He's like, oh, I played them both. So,
okay, cool.
Really looking forward to that. Loving the idea of having Brayton back on the mic. He said he has some surprises for me.
Yay!
So it's not going to be, I don't think, a very normal episode of WOFF, but it'll be a nice change of pace.
Yeah. And that's what this episodes can be. What's the premium episode?
Premium episode for June is Gary Pick, and I'm fully replaced by a scroll because I've chosen a JRPG, and this is kind of counting as one half of our JRPG summer stuff. We have something else maybe planned for later. We'll see. This might count as it, but I want to play Lost Kingdoms.
Yeah.
That is the FromSoft card deck building based JRPG for the GameCube. That is 9 hours long. And I want to do it for a long time, not just choosing it because it's 9 hours long, even though I do think that game genre paired with that length is fascinating.
Yes.
How is that going to work? It's been a minute since we've done a pre-Dark Souls From game.
True.
And I've been curious about it ever since we first kind of learned about it.
I think that might be one we've done on Abject Suffering. This might be the year of the Abject Suffering promotions.
I think it was a Abject Suffering, but we didn't get enough time into it.
Yeah,
because that's a half hour.
Right.
Yeah. Time,
it's Lost Kingdoms back in 2018.
Yeah, so we're doing it for WOFF. So FromSoft fans, buckle up. JRPG fans, buckle up.
GameCube fans,
everybody buckle up. GameCube fans, buckle up. Been a while since we've done a GameCube game as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So Lost Kingdoms and Ace Combat 4 Shattered Skies. Those are both the premium episodes. Everybody gets the generalities on those, and the kind of beat by beat discussion goes to our patrons.
Yeah. You $5 a month.
Yeah. Speaking of that Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv, kick us some money, get all of those premium episodes and whole premium shows.
Indeed. As well as sponsoring an episode. Itchy and Scratchy voice. Carl, I understand you have something to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good Scratchy.
So because my brain is irrevocably broken, I put up a Patreon post about this by the time this comes out, and people are wondering, when are they talking about the thing? I wanted to save it for the end in case I got emotional, because, yeah. If you didn't see that, the news is that I am trans. And that's kind of the end of it.
There's no follow through on that.
No.
As a thing.
Pronouns she, her. Name I'm going with right now is Kay. Been sure of this for a while. Gary, you've been very kind to me, and also very good about kind of sitting on this kind of huge fact for like a year and a half, something like that.
I want to throw out that I was under explicit do not refer to you in any other different way.
Yes.
Instructions until told differently. So if anybody feels like gotcha in me or like pulling up receipts, that I've known about this for a long time. You know, I was under instructions.
Yeah.
My policy is I tell people, I call people what they want to be called.
Yes. Yeah. Also, I think that not misgendering me or misnaming me falls behind, hey, buddy, please don't out me. I'm very, very scared. The world is incredibly scary right now.
I mean, I could have just done that, and we all know now you're going to get all the perks.
Oh God, like all of the sexual harassment, people coming in, a lot of just kind of invasions of my privacy, the drive-bys from the chuds. It's going to be amazing.
We all understand, and I could have given you that gift earlier.
You could have,
and for that I apologize for not doing so.
Yeah,
proud of you.
Thank you.
Good work. I don't know. It's also just you're still the same person.
Yeah.
So like
that's,
nothing has, it is interesting to go, not to center myself.
No, that's
like at all, just cause it's important for the show, or like it comes up on the show. It was a journey, it's like adjustment for me, because, I mentioned, like, I like you, you're one of my best friends. Like we've worked together for a long time. Like we're family.
Yeah.
I didn't want to lose you. Like I didn't want you to change so much that, that like the things I love about you are not the same, and I appreciate your grace, in kind of like shepherding me through that, and kind of reassuring me with that, and your patience, with that.
No, and I understand. Like the thing about doing this, about coming out to kind of individual people, has been, there's been all kinds of reactions. The majority of them positive. Which is great, right? A lot of people surprised, people, confused, have
somebody like pulled out 2 6-shooters and shot them into the air like Yosemite Sam.
Oh yeah. And they'd never done anything like that before.
No, I don't know where they got the guns.
But and people who I'm very anxious about the way they are processing it and reacting to it. Obviously that's going to kind of come with the territory, but like you and the other people in the network, people who have known for a long time, even some, listeners in the community, Gwen, for fuck's sake, right? Helping me, of course, helping me. No, it's been kind of a community effort, and I feel a little guilty for having everybody keep it on the hush hush, but I also understand that is completely unreasonable.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. No. But yeah, no, I mean, just something that is true about the way that we have decided to, present ourselves and run the network has been, we've created a very safe place for, marginalized people of all kinds, but especially trans people. That is not a patting our back, ourselves on the back thing. That is just kind of the basic of humanity, you know?
Yeah.
You don't get
it's
extra.
whatever. It's the minimum of what, we don't get anything for that.
Yeah.
And in terms of coming out, I think that this is going to ultimately be one of the smoother.
Oh God.
Things, like I have faith in our listenership.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we probably weeded out anyone who's going to be a dick.
Yeah.
About this.
And
I hope so. And if not, I'll say it right now, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I don't have any patience for that. Like, no.
I specifically will step on your goddamn neck.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but like, part of that has been, people have come out to me, people who have been in the community, have, kind of just like whispered and said things like, oh, the shows in the community, that was a part of helping self-realize. And that has been a huge gift. And,
they weren't actually whispering.
Right. It wasn't like
that makes it seem way weirder.
Yeah. It wasn't up in my ear. And
that's an exceeding, if that happened.
Yeah. No, that's
not quite a gift.
It's not. It's a very weird behavior. No, like, DMs and stuff like that. And each time I've been overjoyed, but also like for me, just like, all right, yeah, no, it's, it's for other people, not for me. So hopefully I can return the favor here.
Yeah. Everyone should be able to be who they are.
Yep.
A cool thing about this, for people who are listening who maybe don't understand, this requires no effort on your part. If you have at least any part of like you that's like, if there's any part of you that is still has to react to this, or adjust, you don't have to do anything different, like other than respect Kay's pronouns and not be a dick.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to go do 30 push-ups every morning now.
No.
This isn't a mini game. Yeah. It's not a side quest for you.
Mm-hmm. And like, I am also way too patient of a person to a fault. So like, if there are slips or whatever, especially like old responses, you don't have to stop saying, hey guys, because the on cinema thing is, too valuable to me. Also, guys, to my mind, is gender neutral, whatever. Like you don't have, like, there is nothing being asked of you, but also nobody needs to beat themselves up because this isn't it's a period of adjustment. As little as is ultimately being asked. Right. So, like, like the person that I am is going to change. The way that I've, tried to say this is I'm just going to become more me, less inhibited, not as fucking paranoid that people are going to figure something out's wrong with me. Because there's nothing wrong with me.
Me and the council had a lot of guesses as to what it was wrong with you just generally. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't our guess.
No.
We were guessing like some kind of alien DNA.
Yes.
Like we assumed it was maybe like Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right. Yeah.
So also, I just want to say this. Hopefully you don't mind. I'm not trying to take anything from you.
No.
While we're doing the announcement.
Oh, Jesus. Are you coming out too?
I figured I would tell you before I told my wife. No. So I want just for everyone listening to know, you say you're being patient with all that stuff. I have, we've been doing this for so long, right? I have a lot of built-in sense memory. And I just want to let you know that in terms of, misgendering or dead naming or anything like that, you're probably going to be slips. Mm-hmm. Try really hard not to do it.
Yeah.
I would like to ask the audience, what would make me feel good. And I think you will co-sign this, but please let me know if not, leave that between me and Kay.
Yeah.
We're really close friends. Your parasocial relationship with us is something that we appreciate on a level. Mm-hmm. But if I do that, I will work it out, and I'm trying not to. It's just more than a decade of inertia.
Right. Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about is like how often I like to go, dude, and like. That's just an expression. I say that to my wife all the time. Like it's not a gendered thing to me.
Yeah.
The only worst case scenario for any of this that I've thought of is drive-by people being mad at me for saying things like that. Yeah. And I don't think that will happen either. I think I trust our audience more than that as well. But just know that I'm trying. And I'm trying between me and you. Yes. My responsibility is to you.
Mm-hmm.
not to a general idea of this.
Yes.
And so as long as I'm doing well by you, I think I'm.
Yeah.
My opinion is I'm doing fine.
It's a rule that I try to observe, when it comes to other marginalized people, is like, I do not want to get offended on their stead. I will stand up and defend people if it seems like it is, if it is right. But understand that the nature of mine and Gary's relationship is that if there is anything over the line, it'll be edited out, and I'll say like, oh, hey, that didn't feel very good. But also we would work it out together, and it will be amicable, and, because like, I don't know, that's not something. Yeah. So nobody needs to come in and defend me from Gary on my stead. I want kind of nothing less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is also me feeling self-conscious about the fact that I'm probably going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
With it, which is to be expected. Again, inertia is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it is with evolving language, like there's no counter argument for it. Like you call people what they want to be called. Mm-hmm. That's not up for debate. And it is not too much to ask, but I think that sometimes it's not nothing as well. Mm-hmm. Like getting used to something like that. Like, and I think we get a little used to feeling very, like kind of righteous about some of it. Yeah. It's hard. Like I didn't really realize that until this, until in my head, I started kind of practicing it and stuff and being like, no, this will be an adjustment. This will be difficult.
Yeah. Also like something that you learn when you're playing the pronoun game, trying to hide stuff and being real sensitive about, people saying your name is like when you're talking directly with somebody, which is the majority of what we do. Like you do not say that person's name very much.
No.
So
you don't refer to the person in the third person. You're not using pronouns very often either. Mm-hmm. Like, it just doesn't come up.
Yeah. So that's very huge news. I understand it's weird to do it at the end of an episode as opposed to the beginning.
We're trying to get people to listen to the end of the episode. It's been a whole thing where we've been trying to get people to listen all the way through the fucking dispatches.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you shut it off like partway through, you don't get to know.
No.
We're just gonna fucking stink eye you every single time you fuck this up because you didn't listen to the end of the dispatch.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Just kidding.
Yeah. So, I mean, still the same person, different different name, different pronouns, maybe some voice modification. Like there's a lot of unanswered questions about this, because my relationship to myself is changing as I change a bunch of other stuff, but God, it feels so good. It feels really, really good.
Yeah, good job. This is the last of them too, right? Like, is there other people, the audience? Because I think you did the people
Yeah. No, this is
the audience.
Yeah,
the final straw.
Yeah, there isn't anybody who is super close to me who's going to find out through this. Yeah, they will. I will have talked to them. So yeah.
Now the cat's out of the bag.
Mm-hmm.
All the things sound bad. Final straw and cat's out of the bag. I know what a positive version of that is. Not trying to make it sound bad.
No. It's just you just the page turned, right?
Yeah, page turned. Like page completely turned. Chapter begun.
Chapter 2.
Chapter ended.
Chapter 2. The good years.
Yeah, the girl ending. Yeah. I'm looking forward to you getting way into astrology. Sorry, I'm going to keep jokes like that to a minimum. But also, again, God, I think it's kind of funny.
It's going to be it's going to be so fun to make them and make you specifically uncomfortable.
Getting permission to make those with you, I will stop being uncomfortable and start being hilarious like pretty quick, I think.
Okay, all right.
Because you and I, when we talked about this, we know each other, like we made jokes about it.
Yeah,
we were joking about in the hotel room in Midwest Gaming Classic about the super straights. So fucking funny, like as an idea. Like obviously that shit sucks and everything, but it's funny. And the idea of now they're just being like, okay, now you got to deal with the super straights. It's like you just got a new supervillain team. It's like season 7 of Venture Brothers. Like the super straights are moving up the guild.
Oh my god,
super straights!
Fucking super straights, the most boring people imaginable.
It's a really dumb.
It's a terrible idea. Be attracted to who you're attracted of.
This thing on my shirt raises questions about answered on my shirt. Like it's a real, you really need to specify that.
I like women, but no homo.
I saw a post. Exactly, it's literally that. I saw a post that somebody posted. I don't know if you saw this, but it was a post, and they had a Johnny Bravo icon, anonymous. And there's the F slur at the end of this, so I'm not going to say the slur part. But Johnny Bravo from Anonymous says, "I'm straight, so whatever makes my dick hard is a woman." F slur. And I was thinking about that as like it's very fucking funny.
I've seen that too, and it's kind of not that far off from the truth, but
it's very funny.
Yeah,
it's just like and the aggression and then giant Bravo dabbing to it. It's real good.
Yeah. It just it is funny losing inhibitions about this stuff, and it's like, just fuck it, whatever. All this is fake.
It's something that we've been talking about forever as a thing. Like it comes up with. We talk about politics stuff and everything with like, masculinity crisis and stuff. And what is a masculine value? Like that shit's all meaningless and dumb. Like the sooner you kind of figure that out, like the easier this kind of thing will be for you. And when I say this kind of thing, I just mean gender diversity, which is how it will be in the future, whether you like it or not. There's no legislating it out. Like it's not going to stop.
Yeah. So if people could, line up some living space for me in another country if the camps start coming, please. Yes. Yeah. Also, I want everybody to share the signs. If you noticed, if you figured out this ARG,
you know what you're saying that the last everything you've shared on Quackstack has been trans or gay.
Yeah.
You've been doing the ARG on that. And this last time we recorded, I was like, I literally said like, for fuck's sake, to myself, like, are you trying to do that as a thing?
Kinda. I also knew my timeline. So
yeah, that's the, I don't understand that jigsaw move necessarily of trying to get the Rumpelstiltskin-esque, like getting someone to guess in advance. Yeah. It's been a thing though, like again, just if it's okay while we're talking about all this stuff, and not trying to center my experience over the last year and a half, but one of the things when I talk about that anxiety of you not being the person that you are, that I had, one of them was like, is Kay going to become a single issue voter? Like, is everything going to be this now? And that's because I follow a bunch of shit posters for whom everything is trans things. And the last year has been really good for allaying that fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember talking to you about it and you saying something like, if anything, I want to think about gender less. And it doesn't mean like I'm not trying to make a verboten topic or anything.
No.
Hopefully this makes sense. I don't know if people are online as I am, but it's a thing where it's like, I don't want anybody, if you have any part of you that is still like, this is going to change the show inexorably. It's only going to change the show in that you are happier and more comfortable in your skin.
Yes.
Like, I think this will only make the network stuff better.
Yeah.
Again, and that's not, I don't want anyone to backdoor that into me saying that I'm like, this is the last we're going to fucking hear of it. That's not what I'm saying.
No, not at all. That's not, that's not how I'm hearing it. Yeah. Like, will it come up? Probably, because it's part of my life experience,
Yeah, of course.
But, like, and also it opens up new jokes I can make, which is fun. But like, that's the primary reason I'm doing it. It's kind of like why you become a dentist.
Yeah, for the jokes.
Yeah, for the jokes. Yeah.
It's not why you become a dentist. It's why you become Jewish.
Yes. Sorry. I think I wanted to make it more clear that I was making the science reference and not like use my coming out as an opportunity to like come out swinging against a major religion.
to be anti-Semitic. Well, you're allowed now.
Jesus.
No. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yep. No. So same person. You're just going to hear a different name at the start. And we're going to see how it goes from there.
Yeah. And again, don't fuck with her.
No. Please don't.
I will be real mad at you.
Yeah. No time for it.
Yep. Not that you can't defend yourself.
No. Don't fuck with me, obviously, because you don't fuck with people. Don't fuck with somebody for the category that they are. And also don't fuck with me because it's an incredibly, like, just depressing thing for a person to do. What in the fuck is your life like where that is something you're taking time to do?
And I'll fucking get you.
Oh yeah.
I can't say I'm going to kill you. But I will be pissed. You won't make friends of us.
No,
you will make enemies of us.
Yeah.
So anywho, that's it. How do we sign off after this?
I always forget. I always forget how we sign off on dispatches anyway.
I think we just say see you next week with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll see you next week with Satisfactory.
Yeah, I won't be there.
No.
I'm just going to be hanging out. Like, imagine me in a hammock.
It's really weird. We're still going to have you on the recording session, but we're going to have you muted.
Yeah. And then I'm going to be screaming.
Gary over there in the cuck.
Like I'm trapped in a mist book.
Gary over there in the cuck chair.
Yeah, there's a tiny JPEG of me in the corner, like or animated window.
Yeah, quick time, Gary.
Yeah, a sewer shark Gary's in the corner yelling.
Yeah, we'll see you next time with Satisfactory.